A price cut became a political weapon. One week, shoppers were staring at grocery bills that felt impossible. Then Walmart slashed prices across thousands of products. Ground beef fell 12%. Cherries were marked down by half. A 24-pack of Coca-Cola dropped by a third, landing at $9.97. Then the twist came from Washington. President Trump praised Walmart on Truth Social, calling the company and others that might follow patriots in the fight for affordability. Suddenly, a supermarket receipt was not just a receipt. It was evidence in a national argument over tariffs, inflation, corporate power, and political pressure. Was Walmart saving shoppers, defending market share, pleasing the White House, or preparing for something bigger? The answer sits inside one brutal retail truth. Prices only fall when someone is already bleeding. Walmart does not cut thousands of prices because it feels generous. It cuts when the math demands action. In retail, every penny is a signal. A lower price can pull customers back, crush weaker rivals, or protect a business before trouble becomes visible. This was not a tiny promotion buried in one aisle. The cuts hit everyday items people notice immediately. Meat, fruit, soda. Products that tell families whether life is getting cheaper or whether life is still squeezing them. The announcement landed after months of debate over tariffs, inflation, and whether companies were passing higher costs to shoppers. Walmart had already warned that it could absorb pressure only for so long. Now it was cutting prices. So the question changed fast. Was this competition, politics, or survival? Back in April, when the tariff fight exploded around Liberation Day, Walmart faced a dangerous choice. Senior people at the company reportedly communicated a clear message to the White House. They would try to eat the higher costs at first, but eventually prices might have to reflect the new reality. That is how retail works. A giant can absorb pain longer than a small shop. It can squeeze suppliers, reroute inventory, delay increases, and use scale as armor. But even Walmart does not operate outside gravity. Margins in groceries are thin, and a shock in import costs cannot disappear forever. If the cost keeps rising, someone has to pay. Usually, that someone is the shopper. Then tariffs moved away from the most extreme version. The pressure eased. Suddenly, Walmart had room to act. The company could lower prices without destroying its own numbers, especially if it expected volume to rise. Volume is Walmart's oldest weapon. The company has always preferred enormous traffic over fat margins. Sell cheaper, sell faster. Pull shoppers into the store. Let each basket grow. That model terrifies competitors because Walmart can win even when the profit on one item looks tiny. Tiny margin, massive machine. But there was another force at work. Consumers had spent through inflation for a long time. They complained, adjusted, and kept buying. But eventually, households start making choices. They skip premium brands. They delay bigger purchases. They hunt for deals. When that happens, a retailer sees it before economists do. Receipts tell the truth first. So Walmart may have looked at its shoppers and seen a warning. If people were still walking in, they needed a reason to keep filling carts. If they were drifting away, they needed a reason to return. That reason was a lower shelf price. And once Walmart moved, every rival had to read the signal. The cuts also landed during a powerful retail season. July and August are not quiet months. They are summer spending months. Patio furniture moves, pool supplies move, drinks, snacks, grills, outdoor items, travel basics, and back-to-school goods begin fighting for wallet share. Walmart knew the calendar. If shoppers felt even slightly better, the company could turn confidence into volume. Gas prices had been easing, with oil around $70. That matters because fuel is a daily tax on movement. When drivers pay less at the pump, they feel less trapped. The consumer had tailwinds. Retail analysts were already pointing to a more favorable setup for parts of the sector. Lower gas, stronger lower-income wage growth, and easing pressure on some goods created a chance for retailers to regain momentum. Walmart moved straight into that opening. But the battlefield was crowded. Amazon attacks on convenience. Costco uses membership loyalty and gasoline prices to pull traffic. Sam's Club fights in the same warehouse arena. BJ's Wholesale competes for club shoppers. Aldi keeps expanding its reputation for low grocery prices. Even Buc-ee's was described as pricing every item at Walmart's level or below. That is not background noise. That is the sound of traffic being stolen. If customers drive out of their way for Costco gas, they may skip a Sam's Club trip. If Aldi wins the weekly grocery basket, Walmart loses frequency. If Amazon captures household staples, the store visit becomes less necessary. Retail defeat often begins one missing trip at a time. So the price cuts may have been an offensive move. Not charity, not politics. A fight for traffic. And traffic is everything in modern retail. The company that controls the trip controls the basket. The company that controls the basket controls the habit. And the company that controls the habit can survive shocks that break everyone else. Then came the political explosion. Trump saw the announcement and celebrated it publicly. To him, Walmart's cuts became proof that affordability could be forced back into the economy. His message was simple. If Walmart could do it, others should follow. That created a sharper question. Can other companies copy Walmart? For large corporations, the answer is sometimes yes. They have scale, cash flow, supplier leverage, logistics networks, and access to refunds or financial offsets. Walmart had discussed using tariff refund money to reduce prices, with the figure placed around $2 billion. $2 billion is not a coupon. It is a cushion. It gives a giant room to maneuver while smaller players are still absorbing the hit. For smaller businesses, the story is darker. A local flower shop, a small manufacturer, or a balloon seller importing goods cannot play the same game. If tariffs raise costs, they may not have billions in refunds. They may not have leverage over suppliers. They may not have room to cut prices without cutting into their own survival. This is the hidden divide. A giant retailer can turn a tariff shock into a competitive weapon. A small business may experience the same shock as a death sentence. That is why the debate became bigger than Walmart. It became a fight over who can survive government-made cost pressure. And in that fight, size is not just an advantage. Size is armor. Meanwhile, inflation data offered mixed signals. Core goods prices had recently fallen. Some expected the June report to show more deflation in goods, but that did not erase the pain households had already felt. Budgets had been stretched by earlier inflation, including the period when inflation reached 9%. 9% inflation does not disappear from memory just because the rate cools. People remember prices emotionally. They remember what eggs used to cost. They remember what a normal grocery run used to feel like. They remember when one bag did not look so expensive. Even when inflation slows, shoppers still compare today's bill with the bill they used to pay. That frustration gives politicians an opening. It also gives retailers a chance to look like rescuers. Walmart stepped into that moment perfectly. But not everyone believed the story was just affordability. Some saw something else behind the cuts. Walmart's stock was said to be down about 17% from its 52-week high, which was described around $135. A 17% drop from a high around $135 is not a small shrug from the market. It raises questions investors do not ignore. Maybe sales were slowing. Maybe Walmart was losing share to rivals. Maybe the company needed a bold move to protect its position. Or maybe, as one theory suggested, Walmart wanted to stay in the good graces of regulators because it might want to buy something later. That is where the debate turned sharp. If a major company seeks a merger, antitrust approval matters. The Justice Department matters. The political climate matters. No giant wants Washington as an enemy when regulators can block a deal. So some argued that big business naturally flatters whoever holds power. Others pushed back hard. They argued Walmart is too disciplined to damage its business just to please a president. A company this large does not throw away margin for applause. If it cuts prices, the move likely serves a commercial purpose first. Both arguments can be true. Big companies can make rational business decisions while also enjoying political benefits. A price cut can win customers, pressure competitors, calm regulators, and earn praise from the White House at the same time. That is the power of scale. One move can serve 5 masters. Then another detail sharpened the mood. Reports said Peter Navarro and Stephen Miller had been tasked by Trump with finding ways to bring prices down. At the same time, government attention on sectors like meatpacking showed how quickly affordability can become an enforcement issue. That makes CEOs listen. When politicians focus on prices, companies do not ignore the signal. When regulators watch an industry, executives start calculating differently. And when the White House turns a price cut into a patriotic act, the shelf becomes political territory. That is what made Walmart's move so powerful. It was simple enough for any shopper to understand. The price went down. But behind that simple fact was a larger machine. Tariffs shifted costs. Refunds created flexibility. Gas prices improved sentiment. Wages gave some lower-income shoppers breathing room. Rivals kept attacking from every direction. Investors watched the stock. Regulators watched the industry. Politicians watched the optics. And Walmart watched the cart. The cart is where the truth shows up. If the cart gets fuller, the strategy worked. If customers return more often, the strategy worked. If competitors are forced to cut too, the strategy worked even better. Because Walmart does not need every price cut to be painless. It needs the system around it to feel the pressure. That is the part shoppers rarely see. A discount can be relief for one family and a threat to another business. It can look like generosity at the shelf while functioning like a squeeze in the market. It can help customers today and weaken competitors tomorrow. That is the central lesson of modern retail. Low prices are never just low prices. They are strategy. They are messaging. They are leverage. And in a high-pressure economy, they become a form of power. Walmart's price cuts were not just a retail promotion. They revealed the new economy underneath the surface. Shoppers want relief. Politicians want credit. Competitors want survival. Small businesses want room to breathe. Giant chains want more traffic, more leverage, and more protection from disruption. The shelf became a battlefield. A 12% cut on ground beef sounds simple. Cherries at half price sound friendly. A Coca-Cola pack at $9.97 feels like a win. But behind those tags sit tariffs, refunds, stock pressure, rival chains, wage trends, fuel prices, and regulatory power. That is the real story. When the world's largest retailers cut prices, they are not merely lowering numbers. They are moving pieces on a board most shoppers never see. And the next move may not come from Walmart. It may come from every competitor forced to answer. It may come from every supplier told to absorb more pain. It may come from every small business that cannot survive the same pressure. A cheaper receipt can feel like relief, but in modern retail, relief for the shopper can become pressure on everyone else. The price tag is not the ending. It is the weapon.